Hello and welcome to this session of business research methods. We are moving into the next module, fourth module, and the fourth module is sampling. It's fairly a simple module. So we will start off with what is sampling and how it is connected to business research. So now we will take a particular situation. What is the situation? Like Hyundai Motors wants to do a customer satisfaction survey, and whom do they want to contact? They want to contact all the purchasers of Hyundai Accent. Okay, in Bangalore there are 10,000 people who have bought Hyundai Accent in the past 1 year. These are the people whom they want to conduct the survey with. Correct? So this is the case study, or this is the scenario. So with this we are going to understand all the aspects of sampling. Right. So we are discussing about this concept called sampling, and we have set aside a little bit of a small case for us, and we will be dealing how to do this customer satisfaction survey for Hyundai Accent. Now, first method is called the census method. Okay, one of the ways to do the customer satisfaction study is to go and contact all the 10,000 people. Okay, you take the list of all the 10,000 people from Hyundai Motors in Bangalore and send a mail to them, call them, administer the questionnaire, and you can study. This method is called the census method. What is census? Cent percent, 100%. Okay, so this is a census method. Other examples for census method is when the government of India conducts every 10 years a census survey. I'm sure this word is very familiar with you all. A census survey. Every household in India is contacted and they elicit information about the household. So this is called the census method, where every single person is being contacted. Okay. So, what is the advantage of this? The advantage is there cannot be a more accurate form of data collection. Why? Because you are collecting from 100% of the population, and it is very intense, and then it is extremely reliable. What is the disadvantage? Very costly, very time consuming, and most of the time we don't have that kind of resources to conduct this kind of a census survey. So you are clear about census. Okay, what is the population over here? All Hyundai Accent owners who have bought cars in the past 1 year, who are in Bangalore. Okay, what is the census? 10,000 people. What is census method? Covering every single person in that 10,000. Okay, so next one. Is it possible to save time, cost, effort and still have a significant study? Okay, so it is possible. Sometimes even if we get 95% accuracy, 80% accuracy, it's okay. We will know the trends. It's not that you have to call all the 100%. So this method of choosing a couple of people from the population is called a sampling. Correct? We are not going and contacting every single person. It's not a census method, but we are choosing a few people. Okay, so that choosing is the sample method. Okay. Now, what are the two things you have to understand? What is the universe or the target population, and what is a sample? Correct? So, the universe is the total population of what you have defined. First one, for this Hyundai study, 10,000 users, people who have bought 10,000 cars in the past 1 year, is your universe or your target population. Okay. For the census every household in India is the target population, is the universe. Okay, for the 10-year study, census study in India, what is the universe? Every single household living in India. Okay, it is either called the universe or the target population. It is so important to define your target population in the most observable fashion. So many studies I've seen where they say customer satisfaction amongst big bazaar customers, okay, or work-life balance amongst IT professionals. It is a very loose way of defining a population. Okay, a better way to define the population is customer satisfaction amongst big bazaar customers, okay, during March 1st and March 5th, where you are going to do a mall interception. Very clear. So every single person who's coming into the mall, you are going to talk to them. Right? So this IT professional example, work-life balance amongst IT professionals, it's too vast. So how will you define? You can take a definition of, for example, students who have passed out of MS Ramaiah in the past 2 years. So you will have a database of people who are there from MS Ramaiah, and you will know how many of them are in IT, and then you can contact them. Or you can say, I will do a snowball sampling. I have 10 friends who are in IT. They will give me references of another 10. Like that, through personal references, I will take a population of 120, 150. Right? So instead of saying GST's effect on retail outlets, that's very loosely defined population. If you say GST and its effect on retail outlets in Bell Road, because you are an individual who is going to do a study, so you cannot have loosely defined population. Working women, very loosely defined population. Instead you say faculty who are working in MS Ramaiah, ladies who are working in Bell. So you will have a very defined target population or universe of study. Okay. So from there it is easy for you to take out the sample. Okay. A sample is defined as a smaller number of people chosen from the total population. Most of the time we are assuming that the study is amongst human beings. So we are saying population. The study can also be in a factory. Okay. So every hour you are every hour there is 10,000 shirts that is being manufactured. Okay. So you will take 100 shirts for quality inspection, and inspect it. So that is your sample. Choosing the object. How you are choosing the object? Every hour you are going and picking up 100. There are 10 tables. From every table you are picking up 10 shirts. Okay, 10 tailors are there, 10 tables. So all the 10 tables. So this is your sample. Sample is choosing, okay, the selection of a particular number, and ultimately what is it that you want? The sample that you have chosen should represent the universe. You are clear about it? Why I am choosing 10 shirts from each table? Because I want to know what is the status of quality in each of the production unit, right? So what I assume is, in this 10, if there are 3 pieces that are faulty, then I will know overall there is a good chance that there will be a 3% fault. Understood? And then I start doing more of quality checks, right? So sample is choosing from the population, and the choice should be smaller than the population, and it should represent the population. Okay? Instead of studying the whole, you should be able to get almost 99% of the answer from this sample itself. Okay? Right. So that is your sample. What is a population and what is a sample? Next one is sampling framework. Okay, sampling framework is the complete list of members. What is the framework over here? All those people who are owners of Excel. Okay? And how many Hyundai showrooms are there? 10 showrooms are there. From each showroom, you have got 100 names. Okay? 100 into 10, you have got 10,000 people. Okay? So that is your sampling framework. Okay? What is the unit? So how you are going to select from all these 10 showrooms? I will be selecting 10 people as respondents. Totally I will be having around 100. Okay, like this, the unit. What is the framework? The framework is the entire, it's just not only from one particular showroom, sales showroom. It's from all the showroom. Or your other way of doing a sampling framework is, I will do only in Bell Road, only one, no problem. 200 people are there in that showroom. I will study 50% of that population, which is 100 people. No problem. But you have to define the framework. Okay, if it is an organizational study where they are funding, then they'll be very strict. They'll say, no, how can you do only from one showroom? You have to collect data from all the showrooms, and then you have to do a sample from. But if this is an individual study, so you can choose, when you are doing a project, you can even choose just one showroom. The idea is your framework should be very clear and visible. And your unit, whom you are going to do your survey. Like now there is a survey which is being conducted for hatchback cars. So I asked, whom are you going to conduct the survey? Are you going to talk to people who have already bought a hatchback car and find out from them which model is very good? Or are you going to talk to people who are going to buy a car in the next 2 years? Right? So like this, you have to define your framework and your unit very clearly. Sampling framework, sampling unit. Characteristics of a good sample. the sample should lend itself to the objectives of the study. Supposing you are studying nurses' um, experience during COVID. Okay, so there is no point in taking talking to nurses who are in private hospitals. Most of the private hospitals do not treat COVID. So it should support the objective of the study. You should study in hospitals with nurses who are actually treating for COVID. Provide actual information required for the study and also provide adequate basis for measurement. So if there are 10,000 nurses, if there are 10,000 cars with 10,000 customers, you cannot meet 5 people and say I have done my study. There should be a good number of people, the sample. Though it is a sample, it just can't be 2 or 3. It should be a good representation of the population. Number should also be good. Then there should be a proportion. The thumb rule is, generally the thumb rule is 10% of the population. Okay, if there are 10,000 people, okay, you should be studying at least 1,000 people, not 100 people. That's why I said if you are going to, then you can say, no, I cannot have such a large population. I'm an individual person who's studying. I don't have so much money to cover. So I will take only one showroom or 2 showrooms. In 2 showrooms, there are 1,000, 2,000 people. Of that, I will study 200 people. Right? So the thumb rule is 10% of the population. You should be able to study. Only then you will get a good, that is a good adequacy. Thumb rule it is. There are so many formulas where you should apply those formulas and see it is called sampling adequacy formula. But generally 10% is a very good representation. Sampling is very economical. Why? Because imagine contacting 10,000 people. You are only contacting 10% of the population and getting almost 95% satisfactory results. What is satisfactory result? The same result you would have got if you would have chosen the entire population and studied. Correct? And it is practical. Okay? Because everything you want to study census, it is not at all possible. What is the sampling design process? Define the population. This is the thumb rule. Define. When you are doing your study, please do not say, I want to study the investment pattern amongst people. What is that people? You define investment pattern amongst retired people in brigade enclave. Brigade enclave itself will have 10,000, 5,000 members. Of that, at least 500 people will be retired. More than enough. So your population should be defined in such a way you will be able to almost know roughly what is the total numbers. As I am again repeating, this is not the thumb rule for corporate studies. You are not Ernst & Young or Bombay Stock Exchange or some consulting firm. No, you are an individual. So for individuals, the best thing is to know the population, the rough numbers. Okay? Define the population. If you are not able to define the population, then you say anybody who comes to that place for the next 10 days. Okay? That is a very good, especially for retail study, you won't know what kind of people will come. So your population definition is study will be conducted for a period of 10 days. Whoever visits the shop in that point in time will be contacted. Okay, so So that is your framework. How you are determining your framework is through period of time, 10 days of study between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Framework of study. Select sampling techniques. In that, supposing this is your framework, you want to study purchase behavior of lipstick. What's the point in going and studying thing? Whoever is there near that counter, you can go stand. Your selection sampling is whoever visits that particular section. Or if you want to study television watching habit amongst children, so selecting sampling technique is all children who are below the age of 10 who are visiting the mall between the 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. in 10 days time. Understood? So like this you have to define, only then your study will be good. Determine the sample size. So roughly you will know, if you ask them roughly number of people footfalls. First day you will know. Roughly between this 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. about 600 people are coming, 600 families are coming. Right? So you will know how to define. 10% you take as thumb rule. Okay? Right. So next is execute the sampling process. Before you start your study, you write down the sampling process and say, this is my population, this is my sampling framework, this is my unit of study, this is my plan for sampling. By the end of this 10 days period, I will be having the data for X number of people. This is your sampling design process. Next is what is probability and non-probability sampling. We will do that tomorrow. Thank you very much. I have given the question bank for module 3. Module 3 is the most important module from the point of view of exam and from the point of view of your application in the next 2 projects that you will be doing. So please start working on it right now. Thank you very much.